Now available for the first time in paperback. Why 70% of black women are single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Black woman, the company you keep could be keeping you single. Now, many black women out here really don't think critically about their friends and family. They have an emotional attachment to these people. And because they have that emotional attachment to these people, they don't really see how having these associations with these people is turning away many of the men out here who could possibly be interested in them. Now, most of your black women out here, they really don't think about that company they keep reflecting on them. But when a man sees the friends and family you have, he's thinking about how his relationship with you is going to reflect on him. And when it comes down to a man who is a leader, he wants to have a woman that reflects positively on him, and he wants to get involved with a woman who reflects positively on him. So when a man sees a certain type of folks around his woman that reflects negatively on him, he then wants to not have anything to do with that woman, and he will reject that woman as a possible partner for a relationship. So when a guy goes out here and he's looking at a woman and he runs into her friends and family and he sees that friends and family are participating in dysfunctional behaviors, violent behaviors, or out of control behaviors, oftentimes a man, especially a high value man or a working class brother, he's not going to want to get involved with that woman. And the reason why he's not going to want to get involved with that woman, in addition to it reflecting badly on him as a man, is the fact that he has too much to lose. Now, your high value man or your working class brother, a lot of these brothers had to fight to get where they are. They had to fight to go out here and build and establish something for themselves. And they had to fight with your racists, they had to fight with your feminists, and they even had to fight with other black women to get and build what they have established, like things like their home and their business and their job. And they don't want to put any of that at risk getting involved with the wrong woman. So when a guy sees a woman involved with certain kinds of people, then he automatically will reject that woman from any sort of consideration for any sort of relationship with him, because he does not want to jeopardize everything he has worked for getting involved with the wrong woman. Now, some of the women, they don't understand how their company can turn a guy off, but your company can turn a guy off very quickly. And one of the guys who can turn a guy off from considering you from being somebody he wants to get involved with is these street dudes like these Pookies and these Ray Rays. Now, some of these black women out here, they have male friends who are these Pookies and these Ray Rays. They can be the weed man. They can be the guy who's on the block that they knew when they were kids, or they could be one of these guys that they just know from the neighborhood. But when a high value man or a working class brother sees this kind of dude, he sees again a liability to him, because he knows that if I hang out with this woman and she's involved with this kind of dude, this guy can get me into trouble, and he doesn't want to risk his freedom, one, which is the most important intangible as related to his manhood, and two, he does not want to risk his safety. So if he sees Pookie and Ray Ray around you, he's going to automatically reject you. Now, you'll sit there and say, oh, he's just my friend, or he's just my cousin. But when that man looks at that Pookie or that Ray Ray, he sees a guy who could possibly lead to him possibly getting locked up, or he sees a guy who would wind up getting him tuned up by the cops if he's sitting there talking with this guy. So he looks at those guys you're involved with and says, I don't want to get involved with you because you are involved with them, and he winds up abandoning you or not even considering you because he doesn't want to lose his freedom, nor does he want to lose everything he's built because you are involved with this guy as an acquaintance. And sometimes when it comes down to these guys, they will get really jealous of a guy who is on his way, and he'll set a guy up for a robbery, or he'll try to set a guy up by snitching and trying to get him locked up. So when a man sees this kind of dude around you, he doesn't want to have anything to do with you, because when he sees that guy around you, he sees problems for himself, and he sees somebody who would undermine his leadership, and he sees somebody who you would possibly go to look to undermine him as related to build his household. So when he looks at those guys, he sees problems for himself, and those problems are ones he doesn't really want to deal with, because he sees a person who is a threat to his life, and he sees a person who is a threat to his freedom. So all of those Pookies and Ray Rays you got involved with, he sees as a problem to him, and he's gonna just not want to have to deal with any of that drama in his life, so he's not gonna even consider you for any sort of relationship. Now, the next person he would have a problem with as related to the company a black woman keeps is these ex-boyfriends. Now, some of these black women, they love to talk about how they're still friends with these exes, and when a man hears that, oh, you're still hanging with your ex, he knows that there is no reason to consider you for a relationship, because you are, as he sees it, filled with emotional baggage. Because this woman who is already still with this guy talking about they're still friends, still has unresolved issues as related to the relationship, and is not really fully committed to that man. So a man, when he looks at a woman who is out here and she's talking about, oh, he's just a friend, we're still talking to each other, and the relationship ended amicably, he knows that's not somebody he should consider for a relationship, because that woman is still having feelings for that man. And chances are that this situation will turn into one where he will eventually find out that this woman has cheated on him with the ex, and that's something most men are going to say they don't want to have to deal with, so they're not going to want to deal with you. So when a guy hears about ex-boyfriends still in the picture, that's when he will walk away from that woman, because that company she's keeping could lead to him winding up where he winds up in a situation where he has to deal with fighting this dude, or this dude trying to kill him if he's one of these guys out here who are, again, a Pookie or a Ray Ray or one of these dysfunctional beta males. He's gonna say, look, it's just not worth the trouble, and he's gonna walk away. Now, other company that some black women keep that turn men off, especially your high value men and your working class guys, are these criminal and thug types. Now, some of these black women out here, they in their earlier years, their teens and their 20s, they loved dating these thugs and bad boys and these guys with criminal backgrounds. And when a working class or high value man sees one of these kind of guys hanging out around a woman, he's practically turned off right there. Again, for the reasons I described earlier, he has too much to lose. He's worked too hard for what he has worked for, and he doesn't want to risk getting involved with this guy because he doesn't want to wind up with a record dealing with this guy in a domestic violence incident or any type of assault, nor does he want to again get tuned up by the police just by being in the company of this guy, nor does he want this female calling up this guy to jack him up because she's angry because he left the toilet seat up or something like that, nor does he want to deal with any of the drama that this guy has. So if he sees this kind of guy around you, he's practically done before it's even started, because in the case of your high value man, he again has too much to lose dealing with you and this low seed company. And when it comes down to the working class man, he has too much to lose to deal with you and all of the drama and the nonsense. So he's not going to want to deal with that company for the same reason he doesn't want to deal with Pookie and Ray Ray. Now, in addition to these thug and bad boy types, then there's the baby daddy. So that's another guy guys just don't want to deal with, because this guy, again, is extremely codependent, and like a character in a horror movie, he will only pop up when the single mom wants to date, and guys just don't want to deal with that at all. So they'll just sit there and say, hey, I don't want to deal with this type of drama, and I'm just not going to get involved with you because this person is going to cause a lot of arguments, a lot of fights, and again, when you're a working man, you have too much to lose, and you're not going to want to risk everything you work for and everything you've built all to deal with a female who is still emotionally attached to other people. Now, in addition to these types of dysfunctional males, there are dysfunctional females that a man will see as a problem for a relationship, or a woman he's going to consider for a relationship. And those are these friends that a lot of women have, and a lot of the girlfriends women have, they think that they're cool with them, but a lot of these girlfriends can wind up turning a guy off. And the thing that turns that guy off is their negative attitude and the fact that this woman is extremely disrespectful. There is nothing that turns a man off as related to a woman he's considered getting involved with than having one of those friends sit there and practically disrespect him to his face. Because when he sees this woman being disrespectful to him, to his face, that's an automatic turnoff. And again, he's not just judging the company you keep, he's seeing that as a part of you as well. Because if you would sit there and allow this woman to disrespect him the same way a Pam did on the 1990 show Martin, that man is going to look at that woman and say, that's not somebody I want to consider for a relationship. No, that's somebody I'm not going to deal with, because if she's going to tell this woman to show me respect and respect me in my presence as a man, then I don't need to consider her as a person who's a partner, because if this person can't show me respect, then clearly this woman has no respect for me as well. So your friends, if they're coming at you, at a man with a lot of attitude, a lot of mouth, this can turn a guy straight off, and that guy can go from thinking about wanting to call you or text you to deleting your phone number or never ever considering you because he sees a person who is going to be a liability, somebody who wants to make you miserable in their company, and someone who will be miserable to hang out with if you guys have to socialize. And when he sees that person there, always with a nasty attitude, always with some snapped eyes and rolled eyes and a neck, he doesn't want to deal with that type of person who's a problem because he knows that if wherever you go, that person goes. So he'd rather leave both of you right where he finds you because he doesn't want to deal with either of you, and he doesn't want to deal with the stress from either of you. So he's just going to leave you both right where you find you. Now, in addition to those girlfriends who you hang out with, turning you off, turning a man off, there are also other types of girlfriends that can turn a guy off. And these include your hood rats, these include your baby mamas. Again, a man is going to be turned off by these kinds of women because they reflect negatively on him. And if your girlfriend or potential girlfriend or somebody you're considering is out here with these kinds of women, that reflects negatively on him. So if he sees hood rats, baby mamas as your company, then he's not going to want to even consider you, especially the high value man. He's going to be completely turned off because in his social circles, he's looking to find a woman who is respectable. And when he sees hood rats, baby mamas, and those types hanging out with you, you're somebody he's going to walk completely away from, and he's going to walk away and walk away from you, not even considering you, because he sees these kinds of people and he sees trouble for himself, and he sees drama and a nightmare for himself. So if he sees, oh, these are your friends, these hood rats and baby mamas, that's going to be an end right there for him. Now, in addition to these types of women and men, there are also family members that can turn a guy off if they are part of your company. And a working class or a high value man, when they see certain kinds of relatives around you, like the angry mama, the angry auntie, and he has to sit there and deal with their bitterness, that's going to be a wrap for him. And it's going to be a wrap for him because if he sees the auntie or the mama or the grandmama sitting there with the rolled eyes, the sucked teeth, the attitude, one, is going to tell him that either she comes from a single mother household or a divorced household, and he's going to see a lot of headaches and problems coming to him because this woman does not know how to be a helpmeet or a support to a man, nor does she know how to follow the lead of a man, nor does she know how to cater to a man. So when he looks at that auntie, that grandmama, and that mama sitting there with the folded arms, the rolled eyes, and the sucked teeth in his presence, he knows that you have learned an extremely dysfunctional culture from those women, and you have learned not how to respect a man's leadership, a man's authority, or learned how to follow a man. So when he sees that company, he's practically done because he knows dealing with you whenever there's conflict is going to be drama, and that's going to be a wrap for him. Now, in addition to these female relatives that are a turnoff, there are also male relatives who are a turnoff. And whenever a working class man or a high value man runs into these kind of guys, like your weed head cousin, or he runs into your, busted dudes who are part of your family, that also is a turn off because these guys are, again, a liability, and they're always hanging around you. So you have to be very careful about the company you keep, because the company you keep could be keeping you single. And that company is something that a man judges you by. When he sees a certain kind of company around you, he decides if he wants to get involved with you, or decides whether or not he wants to get involved with you. And this is something many men do ever since they become teenagers, because I remember when I was in high school, a lot of girls I chose not to deal with because they were involved with the neighborhood dope man, they were involved with the thugs, they were involved with the gangsters, and I did not want to deal with them because I did not want to deal with these guys, and I did not want to deal with the trouble they brought with them. And most men out here, as they get older and they get wiser, as they go out here and work on building themselves up and establishing themselves and what they work for, they have, again, too much to lose to get involved with you. And when they look at you and they see that you're surrounded by a whole host of extremely toxic people, they believe that you're toxic to them, and they see you as a liability, and they see all of those liabilities as someone who will not be an asset to them in a relationship. So when they look at you and they look at your friends, they see those friends and see people that they don't want in their lives, and they don't want to have to deal with those kind of people. So it's very important that you watch the company that you keep, because that company could keep you single for the rest of your life. And some women, they sit there and they say, oh, I love these people, but you may love those people, but your man doesn't want to deal with these kind of people, and the men in your lives don't want to deal with these kind of people, because these kind of people can mess up everything that they work for, and it could lead to them not being able to take care of their business, because a interaction with a Pookie or a Ray Ray can cost a man who is a working class brother or a high value man his freedom if they call the cops on him. And this kind of guy can also set a dude up for a robbery, or lead to him getting his home jacked if you bring this fool around you, because this guy who you're bringing around you, you may think he's cool, but he's thinking about, I'm gonna go and jack this guy for his big screen TV, or I'm gonna go jack him for his loot. And this is the kind of stuff a man does not want to have to deal with a female. So if he sees a female out here and she's got that kind of company, he's going to cut that woman off, and he's not going to continue to have any sort of contact with her, because he's got too much to lose. And many, again, of the black women out here, they're sitting there saying, I can't get a man, but they don't understand a man wants certain things, and he wants to make sure that his woman reflects positively on him. His woman is a positive example to the world, and his woman shows respect for herself, and her company shows respect for him. And if he does not see these things as related to intangibles, as related to your character and the character of your company, then he may not have an interest in considering you for any sort of relationship or dating at all. So when he sees a woman out here and she's keeping bad company, he sees a lot of bad times for himself. So many black women out here, they rarely ever think about the company they keep, but that company could be the thing that keeps them single for the rest of their lives. Now, if you want to learn more about why so many black women are struggling to find relationships or find a husband, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Barnes & Noble. Now, if you also want to see me make more classic men's issues videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Coming to paperback and e-readers in 2021, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks on a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business in 2021 at online booksellers everywhere.